To see examples of what we talked about on this episode, along with further information, go to bunchofdorks.com.
Welcome, everyone, to
Two Dimension Podcast,
the comic book podcast
With No Direction. What's up, everybody? You know that song, you know this voice. It's your boy, Rook. Joining me, as always, is the man with the plan. It's the one and only. He's happy to be here, not on Teams. We've finally switched to another platform. It's Mr. Don Moore.
Hello, everybody. And you know, it is nice, but I just found out about Zoom just now. And it's been as always, a circus of dysfunction trying to set up a really nice thing.
You know, the beautiful thing, though, Don, is it's just me and you tonight. So we have the time. We can sit back, relax, and watch as we figure out all these things and not freak out that we've got a guest on and we look like idiots. Well, which we normally do. How many times have we said it on this show? We are two monkeys in a garage with a screwdriver.
Yeah, but it's kind of fun.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
There is something I've been thinking about that I actually kind of want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
We're both on that social media thing for comics.
Oh, boy.
I've seen this when I'm putting show notes together. I look things up, and sometimes it pops up. I haven't paid too much attention to it. It looks nice, but it'll have a comic cover, some information, and that was it. Well, our friend Scott Connor joined it, and he was telling me about it. His local comic shop is part of it, so he can do his pull list and everything through it. Oh, that's cool. And he's really big on cataloging stuff. He's always sending me different pages where he's got his collection in. I've never had any issues to do that. Anyway, because Scott's my friend, I thought, all right, so I signed up for it. And I told Rook about it, and I'm happy that I have one friend connected.
Dude, it's hilarious. Like, we both blasted it out on Facebook, which, I mean, gods, we all know at this point, Facebook is almost dead. But you are the only other person on there with me. And it's, of course, you know, Life of Chaos over here. I haven't had a lot of time to play with it. I did for the first like 2 weeks, I think. Dude, I cannot wait to get into this website. You've been doing so much with this.
Well, and I'm saying this with massive embarrassment. It's completely consumed my life. What I started doing was, I thought, okay, so I started logging in books. You know, I got a lot of books on the shelf, you know, collections, trades, European albums. And it's kind of exciting to find things, but a lot of, like my Mobius books, a lot of them aren't there. You know, not a lot of them are there, but there were 4 albums that they didn't have on there. There was several of my favorite books that aren't there. So I've been logging things in, and then I've been breaking out the comic boxes and going through that, which is always a blast, you know, and you find things that it just memory triggers, you know, sometimes you kind of, it's in the back of your head, wasn't sure if you had it anymore.
Yep.
You know, most every comic I've got, I know exactly when I bought it, where I was at, you know, what I was doing at the time. And, but anyway, I started submitting books that I was missing. And that is interesting because 4 of them was the reprint of the newspaper comic Captain Easy, which was way before my time, but it's 4 volumes. So they didn't have it. It's one of my favorites. So I logged it in, but I submitted it as volume 1 and volume 2. Well, the guy came up and he said, all right, I see what you did. He says, but what you have to do is you have to submit a series instead of the book, because this is part of a 4-thing collection.
Really?
Yeah, I thought, I didn't know that. And he said he did is he accepted the first one, but he made it a series, and then he denied the second one. Good enough. So after you submit the series and it's approved, I think you get like 3 points, 2 or 3 points. And then after that, I can go to that and submit all 4 things and, put a cover in, put the information you got, and other people can come in and make corrections and add to it. I think you get something like 10 points if, you do submit an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been making mistakes. Different people will put these in, administrators, I guess, and they sit there and tell me what I did wrong, make your corrections. I do it. Well, I think if you get something like 6,000 points, you can do it yourself. You don't have an administrator. I guess
Oh.
because you made all the mistakes and
By that time, they figure, you know what? You figured out the system well enough. You're one of us.
I don't think I'm ever going to get that high, but I keep finding books that I love they don't have in there. So I go through the trouble of putting it in. And I've been logging in stuff. I got in an argument with my offspring because I was telling her about it, excited. And I says, I'm almost at 6,000 comics and I haven't even opened the boxes yet.
My God.
She said, how could you have 6,000 comics if you don't have that much on the shelf? And I'm sitting there, yeah, it doesn't seem right. And come to find out, I hadn't opened the boxes yet, but I've been taking the comics off the top, which again is quite a bit. But I was logging in comics that I knew I had, like all the Grus, all the Usagi Jumbos, and certain comics that I'll be buried with because I bought them when I was 10 and I absolutely love them. So when I started going through the boxes, it wasn't that most of them were already logged in from memory. But and I've gone to Rook's page and I was really excited to see he logged books in, and I hate to be perverse, but I went through your collection all excited. Wow, look at that. That's neat,
Yeah, wait. I just want to make a comparison here, Don. You went through my books, my 226 comics that I have listed, compared to your how many again?
Well, let me see here. Let me go to the site.
We're gonna get an exact number. All right, for everybody listening, Don, what is the name of this website? And it has an app for it as well, which is really neat.
It's a League of Comic Geeks, and you can do it online, and you can also they have an app. And
I will say this: the app is a little bit difficult to navigate. I've noticed.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's confusing sometimes.
Yeah, much easier on the laptop. The comics I've actually got, it's pretty hilarious if you look at my list because you can tell that I'm doing things in alphabetical order. Because if you look at my whole list, it's literally A, B,
Yeah.
B, B, C, G. And then it just got into random stuff that I was just like, you know what? I know I have these. I know I have these.
That's what I was doing too. Okay, here's my collection right now. I've collected 6,352 comics in trades and books and stuff like that. I've read 7,481.
Oh my God.
Now, some of that I'm going by memory. And of course, as anybody, it's been a lot more than that, but I can't remember everything. And then it has a wanted list, and I'm kind of shocked. There's 234 books that I want that I haven't gotten for some reason.
Man.
And
this website could be the death of us. You know that, right?
Well, it's a blast and it's fun. And I guess the one thing that puts in perspective to me is honestly, when you look at it, it doesn't seem like that much. I mean, as we always say, comics are my favorite thing in the whole wide world. They've completely, ever since I was a kid, I've always read them. They're memory triggers. They warmed and illuminated my whole life. I can't wait to dig through and find them. But when you sit there and look through these things, like Batman, I always had a lot of Batman comics as a kid. Superboy was my favorite when I was a kid. And I had a bunch of the comics. But when you look at the whole publishing there, it's just a micro scratch. Like I'll have random issues. And as we always say, getting comics in the 60s and 70s was like Swiss cheese. You could find it in the 7-Eleven, and then you wouldn't see another issue for about 3 or 4. It was always missing. And that's what made the comic stores so wonderful. And I started seeing them in the mid 70s, was they had everything. You could just go to the comic store. They had them all on a nice shelf, all laid out, and you didn't have to go through a spinner rack and dig and spin and dig and spin. And, they were there. And X-Men, when Dave Cockrum was doing them, Marvel promoted it. I wanted it. I never saw an issue. I didn't see an issue till that episode, the Dave Cockrum issue where Nightcrawler's in Ireland with those leprechauns. That was the first issue I saw. And then I didn't see any more. And I saw that in Texas. I didn't see it in Oklahoma where I lived. And then I found a bunch at a used bookstore in downtown Oklahoma City, which is really seedy. And they had the issue where Jean Grey turned into Phoenix, stuff like that. I got them all for like a dime or nickel or a dime. But and I remember I was at the comic store. It was like the second time I was there, and the guy running the store was talking to an older customer. I was a kid at the time. But he said, "Yeah, X-Men, that's one it's impossible to find." Why is that? Well, it's not anymore. But back then, that was the world we lived in. But when you look at it, it's like just a few issues here, a few issues there. I thought I had 10 billion of them, but it's the perspective kind of changes when you see it all laid out in digital form. But it was a blast going through your books, seeing, because some of the books we all have, some of the books you got are completely alien to me. I remember you talked about them on the podcast.
Yeah.
But it's fun to thumb through and see other people's business.
I'm being spied on, people.
Yeah, I look for people I know. I type in their names because there's a thing, community, and it says find your friends. And everybody doesn't really use the real name. If you want to look me up, it's my name, Don Moore, but it's all together. And the second O is a 2. And so if you look up Don Moore normal, you might find some other guys, but they aren't me. But I guess everybody kind of does that because these moderators come up and, correct my mistakes or tell me what my mistake is, let me correct it. And nobody seems to have a normal name. It's all a flash name.
I think my name is normal on there, isn't it?
I think, yeah, you're one of the few. Let me see. This is good radio. It has, like I said, it has been fun. Yeah, yours is, but it's all together. There's no space between Rook and Murphy.
Don, I have a problem. I can't get logged into this website now. I forget my password.
Oh,
Oh no. I'll figure it out later, I guess.
They'll tell you how to get in.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Forgot your password. Okay, we'll make you jump through hoops.
Man, it is a fun website. I mean, like I was just going around just looking for different comics and creators and stuff like that. I found Ryan Clater on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got one of his books listed on my collection as well. And that's what was it? I went hunting for Oneshi. I found Pack on there. I found a few others. I mean, so it's not just major publishers. You can find the indie stuff on there. Yeah, I found Oneshi Press's Comics Anthology. I found Pack, Sidekicks for Hire. Those are the actually, now that I'm looking at it. Oh, and Bigfoot Knows Karate. Those are the indie books I started with. Those were the books, the creators I immediately was like, I love these guys. Let me see if they're on here. And those are the ones that I found. Oneshi, Ryan, and Bigfoot Knows Karate.
I found some, and like Ryan, it has some of his work. It doesn't have all of it, but it did have a Hunter's Tale, which I was happy about.
Mm-hmm.
But like we interviewed one creator that I bought the book was Dr. Rigby. I think we both did. And when you look up Dr. Rigby, I was surprised. He's got like 2 or 3 issues. The 3 issues make up that haunted mansion story he did.
Yeah.
And but the trade, which is the only thing I knew of, the 100-page trade wasn't on there. I didn't realize he did 3 regular comic issues, and they're beautiful. The covers are nice.
Yeah, because in the back of the book it shows you those covers.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I think.
Um, it's funny. I always whine about I don't like reading things online. I read his online, and then I realized I wanted a copy, and I haven't read it. But yeah, I whine for no purpose. But anyway, I submitted his book, and it's on there now. That's one of those things I had to. I don't remember if I submitted it. I think yeah, because there was already the 3 issues, so I just submitted it as another copy. So it's got the 3 issues and it's got the trade now. And I got the cover and put that on there, put a little information. But if somebody else sees the book and I think, well, this should be on there, they can go in there and submit a correction and add that to it. It's an ongoing open source kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like the Onishi books, Path of the Pale Rider, I think you mentioned you're looking for that and it wasn't on there.
Yeah, I think Path of the Pale Rider wasn't on there.
Yeah, you could submit that.
Yeah, yeah. And I will when I get some time available to be able to actually sit down and start fussing with it again.
Right.
You know, kind of got a lot happening over here on this side of the bay.
Yeah. Yeah. Full disclosure, Rook's son is getting married, and it just blows my mind because when we started in the show, I think he was just starting middle school, and
Maybe younger. I don't even
yeah, it
know.
might have been he was young. I remember we do the
Yeah.
show. He'd come over with his friends, and Rook would always kind of give a hand signal about stay out of this room.
Yeah, 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 exactly.
But and then after that, he was on some episodes that I remember with great fondness. But yeah, he's
Yeah. It's
he's done
crazy.
quite well. Been
It's
been on his own.
yeah.
Married.
He's going to be married in exactly 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from right this minute, I will be probably dancing on the dance floor at my son's wedding. That's insane. I love it. It's amazing. You know,
It's funny a contrast because I'm hanging out doing nothing, and Rook is so busy he can't turn around.
oh, I know. But I'm gonna say this. I'm not too busy to read some comics, baby. I've got one that I really, really want you to read, Don.
All right.
All right. So let me just paint you a picture for a minute, okay? I'm on Facebook doing the normal doom scrolling, and then I start seeing posts from friends finally. And for the life of me, I cannot remember who it was. I want to say it was one of the Ryans. Uh, Somebody had posted something about this book called Papa.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
from Filbo Publishing, which, if the name sounds familiar, it should. Several of the people we've talked to are on Filbo. This particular book, I don't know what it was. I took one look at it and I read the piece about it, and I just kind of went, you know what? This is really interesting. I want to know more. So, Papa is a 5 issue miniseries. Okay. Uh, to give you the basic idea of what this is, it's well. Let me start with this. Philip Russert, pardon me if I mispronounce your name, Phil. I apologize, but he intended this thing to be a graphic novel. Uh, it's a heartwarming tale of family. It starts out the with the grandfather and the granddaughter, who is in the park. He's a 75-year-old Vietnam War vet. He's got a 12-year-old granddaughter, and they're in the park, and they go off after the park, get ice cream. They get the phone call. His son is mad because he's supposed to have been home already with the kid, and she still hasn't even finished her homework. So immediately you get thrown into this world where it's like, okay, you know, here's this older gentleman who is now living with his son and his family in retirement. And I'm reading through this book and I'm just going, oh my God, this book is going to make me cry, isn't it? Because it's dealing a lot with the ideas of aging, it's dealing with the fractured family. There's a lot of conversation about how he raised his son and how his son's trying not to be his father, but is becoming his father. And it's very, very well done. It's this is a difficult conversation for many people to have when they move elderly family members, parents into their home, and you become the caretaker for them.
Yeah.
I see this a lot in my 9 to 5 job almost every day. So for me, this really started hitting home right from the first couple of pages. But then, Don, I'm going to tell you, if Lori Calcaterra is the queen of the cliffhanger, Philip Russert is now my king of the cliffhanger. In a single panel, he ends this book with a 1 page piece that just made me go, what the just happened? Because the end of the book, no spoilers. You all have to go check this out. Again, it's called Papa. We're only on chapter 1, 4 more issues to go. I cannot freaking wait for this thing to come out. Absolutely the most cliffhanger, shocking, what the moment I've seen in a book in quite a while. I'm not sure where he's going with this, but if he's going where I think he's going, I am in love with this series.
Where did you pick this up at? You got it online?
On Kickstarter.
Oh, it is a Kickstarter.
It's a Kickstarter campaign. And like I said, I don't know at what point that I funded it, if he was almost fully funded or if he was, hunting for people to fund it.
Hmm.
But it had 64 backers for a total of $2,707. Whoever you 64 other people are that back this book, good job. Make sure you show up for issue 2 because I want these stories. I do not know what happened at the end of that book. That final panel just made me go, and I'm not joking, Don, when I tell you that I got to that final panel and I vocally said, "What the?" Telling you, man, yeah, killer way to end what overall just came off as a very like normal family story about aging, about family dynamics, and that's what I expected this book to be. And then you get to the end of that final full page spread, and I just went, "Huh." I'm telling you guys, I cannot give this away because you're gonna get to the end of this book and you're gonna do the same thing. Wait a minute, what? I didn't see that coming. How is that a thing?
What I like about that, what you're telling me, was uh, comics mostly is superheroes, which I mean we both like, we both got, but it's can be so much more. As other countries show, and this is one thing. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a human thing everybody's dealt with. My wife's parents lived with us, in the '90s, and I had great fun. My mother-in-law's health was really bad, and it was something. But that is something that it's an interesting story to tell, and I'm happy that someone's done a comic. Now, on this one, can people, if they didn't do the Kickstarter, can you still purchase the book? Do you know?
Let's go to the Kickstarter and find out.
That's kind of important, because maybe somebody will hear about it and think, well, I wish I would have got that.
I do not see late backing available on this, late pledge, but I can tell you this. Uh, Chapter 2 already has well, chapter 3, chapter 4, and chapter 5 already have their covers on the Kickstarter campaign.
Mhm.
So, uh, absolutely fantastic. I don't know how soon this is coming, but man, it needs to come quick. Yeah. It's Don, when you come over, you're gonna have to read this book
Oh yeah.
before anything else. I'm not gonna speak to you. I'm just gonna hand this book to you and we'll talk when you finish it.
I'll do that, man. I'll do that. Like again, I'm happy because this is something. One, it's an interesting story. If you're not going through it, it's still of interest. But if you are going through it or know somebody going through it, it kind of helps to read these kind of things.
Yeah.
It's a learning thing besides the cliffhanger.
Yeah. I mean, this guy's got a history of books too. Let me just say that. He's got a ton of different stuff that he's worked on. Arcane Syndicate, Tragedy, um he's got Withered, he's got like I'm looking at his body of work and I'm going, I hate the fact that I never find out about writers like this until later, you know?
I don't know. I think it keeps it interesting. You know, it's not like you think everything good was done in the '60s and you don't move on. You know,
Yeah.
it's good to find other people, which has been happening constantly.
Okay, Don, I'm for the first time I'm looking over this guy's biography and everything, and yeah, guess what? He's the founder and CEO of Filbo Publishing.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that's hilarious. I did not realize that. Wow.
It was right in front of you the whole time.
Right in front of, oh yeah, it totally was. It was right in front of me this entire time. Yeah, he's he's good. I got to tell you. So, I mean, it's absolutely a brilliant book. I mean, and the art. I think I was holding up the pages to the camera for you to look at a minute ago. Let me just do that again. Let me just show you this artwork. Absolutely gorgeous.
Now, did he write an Android or did he write it and hire an artist?
So we have Alex Sarabia as the pencils, Gary Jort as inks, Febri Ferdinand for colors, and George Medina on the letters. The cover was done by Alex, Gary, and Febri. So it was a team effort on the cover. I'm guessing probably pencils, inks, lettering, stuff like that. But I mean, dude, the art in this book just absolutely freaking fantastic.
Yeah, it's nice.
I'm gonna I'm gonna show you the lead up to the last panel, but I'm not gonna show you the last panel. Okay? So let me just
Back up a little bit. Oh
uh
yeah,
I can't. Hold on, wait. Hold on. There we go. I'll cover it with another book so you can't
there you
see
go.
that page.
That is nice. Shows
Yeah.
action too. I mean, it shows motion. I like that. That's
Oh,
tough.
motion. Um, the facial work, the way they do the lines in his face, the aging, I mean, art just absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic art,
That's
man.
something fascinating to me. I never really thought a lot about until we started doing the show and having guests was writers putting these books together and hiring artists. In this case, a penciler, an inker, a lot of different working parts. So they're kind of working as a conductor,
Hmm.
which, and I don't know all the nuts and bolts of the industry at all, but I know like Marvel Comics or one of the mainstream publishers, usually it's the editor that puts the team together. Sometimes I remember Chris Claremont wanted to get on X-Men because he wanted to work with Dave Cockrum. And Chris Claremont was always looking for certain artists to draw his books, Alan Davis, different people like that. But in this case, if the writer comes up with a comic, and some of the guests we talked to, it's like how they hired the person, how they're trying to get money to pay for this person. And one of the guests, I was asking about how much the artist is doing, like, creating things or fight scenes or something like that. And his answer was, I'm not paying the guy to do that. I'm paying the guy to draw what I wrote. He says, I don't have enough money to pay him to do the, basically writing parts of the book. I
Mhm.
never thought of that. That's interesting, but I mean, that's a lot of work trying
Yeah.
to conduct and coordinate all these different things and making sure you can pay the creators that are doing the work for you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, the more we talk to creators on their Kickstarters that are working on stuff, the more you realize how insane the amount of work actually is that goes into these books. I mean, it's not just I wrote a comic and got somebody to draw it. No, it's I wrote a comic, I got somebody to draw it. Now I have to get it funded. Now I have to get it out into the world. I need people to pay attention. Hey, standing up over here, jumping jacks. Look at me, look at me. Please buy my book. It's amazing to
Yeah.
me. I mean, like it's a full-time job for
Well,
people.
it's labor intensive, and that's what Ryan Clater, when he was talking about some of the students he's had, he says drawing comics, making comics are hard, and it's a lot of work. It's labor intensive. I mean, in
Yeah.
all aspects of it, and you're basically it's like you're making a movie by yourself or making a movie with a few different people, and again, if you're the one creating a book and you're having to bring other people in to write it or draw it, whatever, that's a coordinating thing. And sometimes I would imagine that's like herding cats.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, it is rough, but I mean, it's worthwhile. I'm glad people do it. Um, it's good to create things, even if you don't think you're good. It just there's something to it. And when I say create things, I don't even talk about cooking, making clothes. Just making projects at your house. It's good to actually do something in a creative way. Everybody's got, even if you don't think you have it, you do. I worked in the graphics industry. I was, school in graphics. I was doing drawing all the time. But if you're a big company, sometimes you saturate the market and you have to start getting creative, bringing people in. And the computers, I remember a guy that worked for me, he was in Tallahassee. He was managing a graphic magazine. And he hired, he had several people, but one of them he hired, he was in the Navy, and I guess he did a teletype machine. It was old school before my time. And I said, no, it was Morse code. And I said, he hired him as a typesetter. And I said, what? How did that happen? He said, well, they saturated the market, and he had to find somebody that was familiar with a keyboard. Well, I don't know how that worked in the Navy, but that was the thing. There were people I worked with that had no graphic experience, but some of them didn't make it. Some of them excelled. I remember we had a trainer. You had to go through 6 weeks of training when you got the job there. And one time the trainer was upset. He had a class he graduated, but one person didn't make it. The person was a really good typist. That's how they got in. But he said it just wasn't working. There was no graphic sense to it. And he was trying to find a common ground, so he talked to her. And I said, well, do you draw or paint? No. Do you do needlepoint knitting? You think no. Well, I see what he's coming from. He's trying to see something where you put things together. And like I said, she could type, but that's not the job, you know. But he was trying to find some kind of common ground. And that's why when Ryan Clater was on recently, he was talking about some of the students he had didn't think they were going to make it, and some of them excelled. And that was the thing I always found was there are certain people they may not have ever drawn or done anything, but when they were able to compose and put things together, you start finding out about what you can do, your abilities, your sensibilities. There's other people that are actually really good artists that got a job there that couldn't do the job either.
Oh
So,
yeah.
but but you should try to do something, even if it's just for yourself. Go out there because it is fulfilling in a certain way and it's calming. But it's like Ryan Clater said, making comics is hard. It's a
Yeah.
lot
Oh
of
yeah.
work.
Absolutely it is. I mean, shoot, I've been, as you know, you've read the first draft of my ramblings. Uh
Yes, and it's quite good, by the way.
Thank you. Needs some work. Needs some work. Um I haven't worked on it in about a month.
Well,
Um
they're good reason.
well, I mean, yeah, I mean, hey, it's not like my only child is getting married in a week or 2 weeks or whatever it is exactly now. I can't, yeah, 2 weeks. But
If you get 15 kids, each marriage should be important. So let's
yeah,
not just
let's not, yeah, let's not just put it on the only child. I mean, truthfully, my he's my one and only kid I raised. I got way more kids. uh, but it's interesting for me to because I've really been studying a lot of the scripts that
yeah,
are in the back of books, or like Lori gave us the first part of her script for her new issue of Path of the Pale Rider to read.
which was
I've really,
amazing, by the way.
yeah. Oh man, I'm dying for this issue. I'm dying, man. Uh, I've been studying these scripts to try and get a better idea of how to lay out mine. And it's really interesting. I mean, there's so many different resources out there for you as a writer and as an artist to be able to work on comic books, to work on this thing that we love to do. Um, and it's really wild because I never thought I would write a comic book. That was something Dallas and I did as like elementary school kids. Oh, we're gonna write comic books, and we did. We wrote little fun comics. But it's not at the level I'm trying to write at now, of course. I mean, I was a child. I'm 45 for God's sakes. Uh
Still a baby.
yeah, yeah. Well, in your eyes. I'm small enough to be held in your arms like a baby, Don. uh but it's really it is. It's so much work.
Yeah,
Uh you know, when I was working on the project for Ryan and John, um for Worse Than Mayhem, I told Ryan at one point, I'm like, man, I'm having a hard time. It's not hitting the way I want it to. And he goes, listen, man, writing is rewriting.
yeah.
And he's got such a solid point when he says that. It's so, so true. I actually went back to the stuff I had written before. I read it over again, and rather than trying to rewrite any of that, I completely started over and started writing what I did for Ryan and John for Worse Than Mayhem. And when I got done with it, this was probably the fourth time I sat down to write this book or write that story. Everything fell in line on the fourth try.
Yeah.
And, Ryan and John, they said they were really happy with it and, working on that. And I'm dying. I can't wait to see how it turns out. But I'm also not one of those people that's like, hey guys, what's going on with the story I wrote? Can you guys send me something? I want to know what's happening. No, I can't do that to them. They're busy
That's
too.
a, I want to add something to this. Brooke sent me the script he wrote. And now I'm listening to all the stuff he told me, and I appreciate it. But when I read it, it was a story. It was easy to read, and it got me twice in that. I love the ending. And saying that, I grew up reading O. Henry in school, and where the O. Henry endings, the Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, they all kind of had those kind of endings, a surprise ending. This one, it was, but it was very subtle. So it wasn't a shock, but it fit in with the story. And when I read it, it was the easiest story in the world to read, which is what you want. It seemed effortless. It was funny. It made me laugh out loud twice. The ending, really. But saying this is my friend, so I'm going to say, hey, I loved it, but I really did.
Yeah.
What I really like and I'm interested to see was how many pages did you actually write?
I don't know. Um, they said it was more like 10 pages and they wanted like 4 to 6.
Yeah,
But I don't know what I'm doing. You
yeah,
know, I this is my first crack at ever trying to write an honest attempt at writing a
right,
comic book. So, like, I told Ryan, I was like, listen, man, I wrote this the way I write my D&D stories, my D&D campaigns. Minus, perception checks and stupid stuff like that, all the mechanics of the game. The way I write my D&D campaigns, my games, I will literally sit and write a story. And I kind of write it in like the choose your own adventure style. Like, do you want to go left? Do you want to go right? I give my players options because I'm not a railroad kind of guy. For anybody listening who doesn't know what railroading is in D&D, it's when you have a dungeon master who has one line of thought and they're going to send you down this path. And if you vary from the path, you're going to die. There's no other options. So I don't like railroading people. So I throw in at least 2 to 3 times per game options for my players. And then, of course, they come up with their own options as well. So it's more like 8 to 10 times they have options during a game. I didn't have to do that writing the comic.
yeah,
I didn't have to think about what anybody else was going to think or how they were going to react, except for Ryan and John. Those are the only two people I wanted to entertain. Like, for somebody to say, hey, we want you to take our characters and do something cool with them, that's a huge amount of trust in my eyes. And I tried to be as honest and true to what they had been doing in the previous issues with what I wrote. I think I did a good job. I am very much looking forward to, you know, if and when it gets actually published. I say if and when because let's face it, these guys have got a ton of stories for Worst in Mayhem. If I don't show up till like issue 10, that's cool by me.
oh
I'm
yeah,
not worried about it.
yeah. It was sweet. I'm interested to see how it's done in a comic. And
Yeah.
like I said, I had it in my head. I read the thing. I could also see where they could take it down to some pages and not lose anything.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't know how to do that, but they do, and
Yeah.
that would be
Well,
interesting.
and that's one of the funniest things is like I asked him about editing and he said, we're going to edit as we go. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not worried about it because I now know that I entertained you and I entertained Ryan and I
Oh
entertained
yeah,
John, and that's all that matters. And what they do with it from there, that's their deal. I don't
yeah.
care.
Immensely
Well, I care.
entertaining.
I care,
I
but
really enjoyed that.
you know, I, uh, you know, it's it's just one of those things where it's like it's their book, it's their characters. If they edit me down to 4 pages on that story, great. That's what they have to do. I'm all for it. You know, long as a couple of my jokes and my ending is there, that's all that matters to me.
Good.
I don't know.
I got you.
Hey,
Um, are you familiar with a designer called Chip Kidd?
called what?
Chip Kidd.
Ship Kid?
Chip. ChipKidd. He's I learned about him. The first time I ever heard about this man was, as you know, I'm a big fan of the Batman animated series. And there was a book that came out, I don't know if it was the end of the 90s or beginning of the 2000s, called Batman Animated. And it was by Bruce Timm, who was one of the creators of the show,
Yes.
and Chip Kidd. And I had no idea who Chip Kidd was, but he had co-billing with him, and he basically compiled the book and wrote the things. But since then, I've got a lot of books where he did the design to, prose books. There was Osamu Tezuka, the guy that did Astro Boy. He did a 8-book series called Buddha, and Chip Kidd did the designs for it. One time, the company I worked for sent a bunch of people up to Boston to some big design, symposium, and he was one of the keynote speakers. He was one of two Mesa keynote speakers. I see his name all the time. He's designed a lot of books, prose books, art books, and comic books. But my buddy Brett recommended something. I've seen pictures on Facebook, and Avengers Velocity Trap.
And this covers his design, right?
No,
No?
that's the other odd one. There's a man named Michael Cho that I've seen. He's done tons of DC collection covers. Best of Legion of Superheroes, DC Silver Age, and stuff like that. I like his work, but I've only seen covers. I was wondering if he did comics. So anyway, Chip Kidd wrote this.
Oh wow, he wrote it.
And Michael Cho drew it. But
Wow.
they drew it like it's a 1960s. Get this, it's a dust jacket. Here's
Oh,
the
look at
cover.
that. Underneath the dust jacket. Beauty.
Here's the back cover.
Beauty. I love it.
No, here's the dust jacket. Here's the inside of the dust jacket.
Oh, no. They printed the inside of the dust jacket. I love that.
Chip Kidd, baby.
Dude, that is a piece of an attention to detail that most people
Yeah.
would never think to do, and I find that brilliant. I love that.
But it has the Avengers when they first started, except Captain America. It has the Hulk, Vision, or not Vision, Ant-Man, the Wasp, or I guess by this time he's Giant Man, Iron Man, and Loki's the bad guy, as he was when the Avengers first started.
Of course.
And, that's an odd one. When I was reading comics in the 60s and 70s, I'd heard that Loki was the reason the Avengers became the Avengers. But, Loki was always in Thor. He never had anything to do with the other comics, really. Oh, that's weird. And the Hulk was one of the Avengers. That was odd, too, because when I was reading comics, the Hulk was a mindless, savage beast that everybody's trying to stop. Anyway, it was all bizarre. But since then, I guess since they've done cartoons and TV shows and movies, Loki's a massive part of the Marvel Universe again. But
Yeah, he is.
anyway, Chip Kidd wrote this thing. I'm just showing you some of the stuff in it.
Oh yeah.
But what's neat,
I love
It's
this.
pages.
This is gorgeous.
it's a neat story too. But when they introduce a character, I mean, even though they're all fighting, but it's a Marvel Masterwork pinup.
Oh,
Iron Man, and
That's
it has an
pretty.
Iron Man fighting sequence, which is like the comics you used to read. The next page, Captain America.
yeah. There you go.
Now, this is the stuff I saw on Facebook, a couple of these pages, not knowing, and then Giant Man and the Wasp.
Heck yeah.
And then Incredible Hulk.
Hulk. Look at him. Back when he had that flat top Frankenstein head.
Yeah, that's my favorite, the Jack Kirby looking one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a goofy, cartoony, scary guy. And Thor. But what's funny in this story, the story is actually really good. But the comic, Loki, again, he has his own pinup. He's the one manipulating everything. It basically breaks down the CMYK printing
Yeah, I was gonna
process,
say.
and then the blue line and the
Yeah, I
pencil
broke the color.
blue line. More of it.
Oh, that's such a cool effect. The gradient going across like that of the color of all the color.
Then it shows the pages, and you meet Chip Kidd and Michael Cho working on the comic.
Oh my god. Now that is a fourth wall break.
Oh, big time. And then the Avengers show up. Want to know what's happening?
in their studio.
Yeah, in their studio.
Oh,
And it's just, they play with the form. It's basically a designer and an illustrator doing a comic book, and they know what they're doing. I'm not going to give the rest of the story away, but I enjoyed this immensely. One, just visually, like we're just talking about all the inside of the dust jacket and everything else.
yeah.
And it has, my buddy Brett he was the reason I bought the book. I've seen some pages, thought it was neat, but he's the one that did a big write up about it. But it makes you feel like you're reading the old '60s Marvel stuff.
Nice. I love it, man. So
And here's the other weird part. I went into Wilson's Book World the other day, and I haven't been there in a long time. And when I do go, it's on Wednesdays when the owner's off and the comic book guy is running the place. So I've bought some books there, but I haven't seen her in years. It's on the other side of the peninsula, so I don't go over there much. But I went over there, and anytime I walk in that store, there's just something jumping off the shelf that I have to buy. And I was thumbing through, and I pulled out a book, and I looked at it. Oh, that's kind of neat, and I put it back. And then I walked back over, pulled it out. I did this 3 times. I should, but I thought I don't know, just another one. Oh yeah, I opened it up and saw some pages, and I thought I'm getting this. It's Batman: Death by Design,
oh wow.
written by Chip Kidd.
Oh no. Did you realize that when you picked it up?
Well, I saw his name.
Okay.
I
Okay.
hate to say this, coming in with preconceived notions. I still see him as a designer, even though I enjoyed this other book immensely. But I just thought, but I'm not familiar with that guy. It's Dave Taylor, and I think he's English. I looked him up. I was just wondering if I had any of his other work. I don't think I do. But check this one out. It's like
Oh,
it's like embossed paper with a bass symbol.
wait.
over it.
Is the page, are the pages actually embossed, or did they draw it that way?
No, it's just drawn. I guess it was embossed and it's photographed, but that's the inside page from the cover.
God
It's a little hardback.
damn. That is a
Now,
beauty. I love the way that looks.
thumbnails.
Yes.
Now this thing looks like it was done in the 30s. Batman in the 30s, which is something I enjoy immensely. But I guess this is a 4-issue series they put out that I never heard of. This thing came out like 2021. And little more designs. I love that Batman.
That's such a good. I love that sleek,
Yeah.
you know.
This is the old Batman when it first
Yeah.
came out. But anyway, it's more of the stuff. And
Oh,
it reminds me of Michael Kaluta's work, The Shadow and The Rocketeer by Dave Stevens, Bruce Wayne.
beauty.
But and here's the comic itself, what it looks like.
Yeah, that's gorgeous work right there, man. I
It's
mean,
really
come on.
film noir.
Yeah, that gray tone over everything. That
Yeah.
like
It's a grimy Gotham City from like the 30s.
it almost looks like a gray wash was put over all the art.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, just absolutely fantastic.
It's sharp and fuzzy at the same time. And sometimes it looks like it's just pencil work, but it's fully rendered and it works on all cylinders.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
But
yeah. They're definitely firing on all cylinders with that book. I mean, come on, man.
the design, look at all the work. That's the newspaper. And
Yeah.
just to give you a quick thing on this, it's about architecture.
What?
Yeah, they're talking about Bruce Wayne's dad basically set up a train terminal or a subway train kind of terminal. They're supposed to bring visitors into Gotham City and see all the wonders of Gotham City. And it sounds to me like Gotham City was a bright, happy place, kind of a wonder of the world. And And, Bruce Wayne's dad set all this up. And as the story unfolds, that station is now condemned. And a woman comes into Bruce Wayne's office. He's the tycoon, disinterested tycoon, powerful man. But she has a meeting with him, and she's upset because she's wanting to preserve it, whereas he's gonna, they're gonna destroy it and build something else. And he's talking to her, and she piques his interest, and she's saying this thing needs to be preserved. As the story unfolds, you start finding out that it goes into corruption, and some of these connected crime bosses, they were doing things like cheating, like selling bad concrete, cutting corners and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
They'd have to go back to them and have the repairs made in 10 years, keep them in business, stuff like that. So anyway, the station was built, but it wasn't built to last. Anyway, Alfred's talking to Bruce Wayne about it, but Bruce Wayne says there's two. One, it's not conceivable, cost effective to fix it. And two, he was counting on them destroying it so he can use that tunnel for his work, for the back.
Yeah. I mean, Bruce needs to get around.
But I thought, well, I can see all this. So it's going all these other things. Anyway, this page here, you have a reporter called into the boss's office, and he says, good job on this piece. But what it was about, this guy is basically, he's an architecture editor. He does all the design and architecture pieces. But he found out, he got a scoop on some of the destruction and chaos that's going on in the construction world. And he says, I'm putting you on the case. He says, I'm not an investigative reporter. I'm the architecture editor. And the guy is telling him, which makes sense in a newspaper. I understand I've never worked for a newspaper, but I thought it actually makes sense. He said, well, you're on it now. So the guy's a little bewildered, but he actually does what's done. He was the right man for it. So you're following this guy and doing this. And then Bruce Wayne starts realizing it's going by architecture. And he's starting to put this together. And he gets in a relationship with the woman trying to preserve the thing. She's a reporter, I think a reporter. And but I don't know, it's all the way through this book. This is one of the greatest books I've ever read. And there's another masked guy with goggles that I couldn't figure out. And he can just appear and disappear, which is something in this, because this book is rooted. They don't show Superman or anything else. They don't show, it's Batman.
Yeah.
And they're showing Bruce Wayne and how he's working as Batman. He's a skilled Batman, and it's really impressive, but it also shows the human side. How he's incredible what he's able to do, but you can also see where sometimes he takes some punishment. It has a limit. But this guy that shows up, first you're thinking he's bad, and then you start seeing where it's coming from, and what he's able to do what, to appear and disappear and basically stand up in thin air on the top building while Batman's hanging upside down, trying to find something out.
Yeah.
This is incredible. At the end, it's got a write-up by Michael Chabon. It says, this book unites fandoms, comics, classic black and white film, architecture, design, like a conqueror unifying thrones, pure deliciousness from start to finish. 100%. Matter of fact, Scott Connor is always telling me about books that I'm not aware of. So I thought, hey, he'll like this. He likes The Rocketeer. He likes Michael Clute. He likes all this stuff. So I sent him the picture and said, are you aware of this? Yeah, he's had it for years.
Of course he has. Of course.
As you should. But anyway, I highly recommend this. I read the thing thinking this is the greatest comic I think I've ever read. So Chip Kidd, you're a great designer and with massive, well-deserved success, but you can write comic books. And I apologize that I dismissed you after reading The Avengers and liking it so much. So if you see somebody's Chip Kidd, it'll probably be pretty good.
So Don, I hate to do this to you, but as we come up to the end of this particular episode, we go from that absolutely refined, gorgeous, published piece of work, okay, to a book I have to show you. Uh, this is, I don't even, I found this off of a previous guest of the show. They posted it, said that their friends are working on this book. It's a total DIY ash can project. I mean, you can tell by just looking at the size of this thing. It's an ash can.
Okay.
It is called Barricade Brigade.
Okay. Yeah.
This is now it was when I pulled it up and I looked at it, the first thing I see is Barricade Brigade #0, a punk rock horror comic. Punk band Hot Watermelon fight back against corporate suit to defend their turf. Did they bite off more than they can chew with a question mark? I immediately, of course, scroll down and I see the art, and I mean, this is DIY punk rock artwork. This
But
is
I like it.
this is the kind of art I remember seeing on flyers back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I immediately got hit by like this nostalgic feel of the old punk scene, back
Yeah.
when, you know, we used to punch Nazis just for walking in the door. We wouldn't let them in the venues even. Uh, I ended up getting the twofer. This is both of the creators' covers.
That's
Okay.
fantastic.
So the the creators here on this book, we have Chris Stahl and Chris with a K, Chris Mendoza. These guys absolutely did the most DIY. We want to write a book. We know we're not the greatest artists, the greatest writers, but we have an idea. We're going to put it out there. We're going to have some fun with it. And they absolutely freaking killed it in
Yeah.
this. I mean, we're only talking about like 8 pages. Okay. That's it. There's all there is. And then it proceeds to go into watermelon groupie photos from off the Kickstarter where like people sent in pictures of them with watermelon. I mean, it's such a gag thing to do at the end because of the book being called Hot Watermelon. I thought it was hilarious. Uh, but the book is it's a punk band and they play a show and there's this corporate suit stooge trying to buy their friend's bar where they're performing at. One of the characters says something a little strange that I'm going, that doesn't sound right. But carry on to the end of the book. It ends. It's freaking great. I get a kick out of this. But then I start really looking into what came with the book. First off, 3 stickers. Okay. Two creatures from the cover
Yeah.
and the CHK Comics logo as stickers. But that's when I went, what are these tiny little things in here? There's 4
Oh,
of them.
comics? Are those comics?
Wait for this, Don. Hold on. So here's our covers with the name of a band member. We have Sar, we have Five, we have Tolba, and we have Mick. Now, I've pulled these out and I'm like, what? Why are these folded like this? Oh my God, Don, they are little miniature
Yeah.
handmade comic books.
They're handmade.
Look at this. This
Oh wow, that's okay. That's genius. What
they
he's doing, he unfolds it, and it's one sheet of paper with a cut in the center.
every one of them is like that, dude. Every one of them is just a couple of panels
Is
folded.
there a backside to it? Is the backside printed or is it blank?
No, so the backside is blank, so you only get one side.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? This is oh my God, this is so cool. I mean, and like, all right,
That is cool.
I'm not talking crap when I say this next part, okay? Like, if you look on how it's folded, like the bottom page hangs out. I mean, this is so DIY punk rock as F. I cannot even explain it to you how much joy I had when I realized what these little folded pieces of paper
Oh
were
yeah.
just small, quick little panel snippets of character backstory. And I think the funniest one is this one right here. This panel's blank and it says band pictures here. I go, wait a minute, what? Did you not draw that or it because it looks like it's handwritten. Like, did somebody like start printing these and realize they didn't draw the band pictures and just went, screw it. People will think it's
I
fun.
take it like if you have the comic and you're following the band, you can put your own pictures on there. Is
Yeah,
what they
right? I mean, I got such I don't know if I got a bigger kick out of these little tiny books
I
or
certainly
this.
did. I'm just watching
I
it.
mean, I'm just like this thing is ridiculously awesome. I
That
mean,
it is awesome. That's
like
more than awesome. Now,
so much joy in my heart right now looking at just looking at these, showing them to you, and you going, "Oh my God, those are cool as hell.
oh, they
Those
are
are
awesome.
just amazing." Because they are freaking rad, dude. I mean, who the hell thought of this? I love you guys.
The whole project is neat. It's 100% what you said. They look like old flyers from bands. They're the drawings aren't bad, but
No, they're not bad. They're
they're
not
not
bad. Let me
professional.
say this. This is
Yeah,
this is this is a pair of dudes that I don't know what the rest of their work looks like. One of them is an artist and a writer. The writing is solid. I will say that the writing really kind of like it leaves you with the mystery, but it leaves you with the dread at the end of the book. Like, what the f just happened, and what the heck is gonna happen next? You know, uh, the art is absolutely like I used to. So when I was in high school, we had uh little zines like this all the
yes.
time back in the 80s and 90s. We had zines. And this is the kind of stuff that I used to see in those zines. This style artwork, this color, this is nostalgia, baby, for me. I freaking love this book. People are going to go through my collection when I'm dead. They're going to come across this and be like, "What in the hell?" But if they knew me, they will understand how much I freaking love this weird little ash can throwaway comic. Most people, I bet you anything, if you most people got this handed to them for free at the comic book shop, they would have thrown it out before they got to their car, which is stupid of you people. Don't throw away ash cans. Ash cans are awesome.
That's I always see those things as treasure. And I'm going to say, I was listening to an interview with Brian Eno, and he was talking about this was during the mid '80s. He'd been listening to contemporary Christian music. It fascinated him, he said. And he was talking about the reason why. He says, the people, a lot of the singers are limited. They don't have the big range a lot of singers have. He says, but what he liked was they were singing it with everything they had, regardless of
Hmm.
the limitations. I mean,
Yep.
they had a conviction of what they're singing about. But there is something about primitive things, primitive artwork. Primitive images have a power to it. It has a strength. And that's kind of what I see with this one. It's they're working, even though they have limits, they're working with everything they have. And when I see that, it makes me happy. Finding stuff like that out of the norm makes me extremely happy. It's like you're finding a treasure that you weren't aware of. So I don't see that as a bad thing. And if you get something for free, take a look at it. And if you don't like it, somebody else will.
Somebody else will love it, man. I mean, it's here's my thing with comics. Never throw away a comic book. Okay? I don't care how big it is, how small it is, how popular it is, how like you just got handed it by a kid standing in front of the comic book shop. Uh keep it. you have no idea what the future could be for that artist, that writer. You know, one of the very first comic books I ever put in my kid's hands, and he was real little. I think he was probably about 4. Steve from Yancey Street handed him an Ashcan comic, which Steve would hand him, comic books all the time and just be like, "Here, take this home." But he handed him an Ashcan comic, and I remember in that book was a Franklin Richards story. It was like young Franklin,
Yeah, and I like those. I've got
yeah,
some of those. Yeah.
yeah, the young Franklin stuff. Uh, and now, like I said, my kid is like 4, maybe 5 at the time. He dove into that thing. He would make me read it to him every single night. And then one of the big memories I have of him being little was him telling me, "No, I read tonight." And he, not joking, he read that book. He came across a couple of the big words, because it's Fantastic Four. It's Franklin Richards. A couple of the big words in it he stumbled over, but he worked his way through them, sounded them out. This is, to me, one of my fondest memories of comic books is seeing my kid sit down with an ash can that every other collector probably would have been like, read it once, toss it. Nope. We held on to that thing. I pray that he still has it. I hope he still does because I absolutely adored that little book. But it's just one of those things, man. You never know. You never know where a comic book could go and what it could mean in somebody else's hands. Um, don't throw your stuff away, people.
Absolutely, and that's one thing I always say is somebody makes a comic and it's not real popular, not everybody. There is somebody walking the planet where that story means everything in the world to them.
Absolutely, man.
So if you have it, you don't want it, you don't like it, just pass it on or leave it somewhere. As a little kid in the '60s, some of my favorite memories were finding a comic book in the laundromat in Lawton, Oklahoma, and my dad reading it to me. Legion of Superheroes, one of my favorite things. My dad read me a story when I was 4 years old. I was sitting in his lap at the laundromat, and it was a Legion of Superheroes story. Now, I didn't know what any of that was, but I remembered it. And then when I started saving comics when I was 9, I'd always remember that. Well, I was 12. I found it in a Superboy reprint in Pawnee, Oklahoma. And it's Superboy 202. Absolutely one of those 100-page super spectaculars. And I read that. Oh my God, that's the story Dad read me. But it, like I said, warmed and illuminated my childhood. So it may not mean so much to one person, but it'll mean everything to somebody else.
Absolutely.
And that book is absolutely wonderful, even without the wonderful little mini comics. That's incredible.
I know. I love it, man. I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to see these guys do more stuff with these characters, and I'm kind of really hoping that they keep it Ashcan.
Yeah.
I would really love to see these guys keep it at Ashcan size. I don't care. Keep it at 8 to 12 pages per issue because what you're doing, gentlemen, is brilliant. Well, Don, we're right up against it here, man. It has been so much fun to just sit and talk about the stuff we're reading currently. I feel like we haven't gotten to do that in a while.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get back to the interviews here again next episode. Pardon me, I can speak. And we'll be seeing you guys again real soon. But until next time,
read
more
comics.
You can hear our most recent 20 episodes on iTunes. If you would like to hear our older episodes, you can find them on our blog. Just go to bunchofdorks.com and click on the Cyclops.
Your Dimension can be found on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. If you like what you hear, you can subscribe, rate, leave a review, tell a friend, or like us on Facebook. Thanks for listening.
If you would like to be part of the show, draw a fake comic book cover and we'll use it to promote our new episodes online.
If you'd like to promote your music, send us your MP3 and you can have a musical spotlight on the show. Plus, we'll add you on a link on our music page.
We have t-shirts designed available for you. So you can find them on the sidebar of the blog. Listen to the show, wear the shirt.